I had an absolute blast. You know, it was such an incredible event, and particularly in hindsight. I mean, to tell you how amazed, and that's the right word, without exaggeration, how amazed I was with Conor would be very difficult for me. I don't know that I have the rhetorical skills. It was incredible. I mean, first off, he shouldn't have been there. People were saying he didn't belong. Those people were right. People were saying that fight shouldn't be made. The commission shouldn't even sanction it. Historically speaking, they're right. There's never been a fight with such disparaging records in the history of commissions that's been sanctioned. The rule is 3. You and I can fight if I've had 3 fights and you've had none, or I've had 6 fights and you've had 3. That's the rule. It's not the law, but that's the rule of thumb. 49 versus 0. And Conor came out, he did exactly what he said he would do. He came across the ring, he put it on Floyd. There was 9 seconds left in the first round before Floyd took a hand and moved it in a forward direction. He never even tried to land a punch. And the second round and the third round weren't a whole lot different. And the incompetent judges of the Nevada State Athletic Commission still only gave Conor 1 round. That should be a bigger story here. I mean, if that fight would have gone the distance, they were getting ready to rob him. And we see that in boxing constantly. But because this didn't go to the cards, it isn't being, there was no spotlight put on it, but there should be. That was absolutely absurd. And what was also incredible, Ariel, Conor's putting the pressure on him. Floyd's not doing anything back. Finally, Floyd gets off a piece of offense with a straight right. Conor slips it and throws an uppercut, followed by a hook, followed by a cross. To explain to you in words how difficult that combination is, to slip and throw an uppercut, so hard to do. Fighters know that is almost an impossible combination. Conor landed it, and that's when all of us in the arena that were the smart marks sit back and go, oh my God, this guy can box. Reality was, this was Conor. You know, sure. I don't know that he represented all of MMA. He represented one rare and special athlete. I will not be part of anybody saying anything different. I was a naysayer before this thing started, but I should have been. I had evidence on my side. You've got a guy that's never done it against a guy that's never lost at it. That's a fair statement, and I made it several times. But Ariel, Conor went out. He kept his nerves about him. Conor never gets enough credit for the way he deals with pressure. You know, what's the golden rule? You put yourself in somebody else's shoes. If I had to go in there and box the best boxer in the world, my size, that is the most frightening scenario I could think of. Take all my tools away, and I just got to go out there and get punched in the face. Really hard thing to do. Conor dealt with it. He held up. I mean, the number one thing that kind of fear and stress does to you, and we all deal with it on some level, I would just imagine that his would have been higher for this, is it drains your battery. It takes your energy away. It did take Conor's energy away. But a half hour later, my God, it was amazing what he did. And Errol, there was a great thing that Dana White said at the post-fight press conference where Dana just laid it out there and he said, guys, in boxing, you start with 3 rounds. You go to 4 rounds. You graduate to 6 rounds. Conor stepped into a 12-round environment and made it a half hour with the baddest dude to have ever done it. Come on, man. Conor McGregor is amazing. There's nothing else you can say. Everybody won here. You know, never in my life have I seen an entire integrity of a sport put on trial. Boxing is a dying sport. I say this as a boxer. I boxed before I did MMA. I did wrestling before I did MMA. I'll fully admit those sports, we just don't have a lot of fans. Boxing is not recognized by the NCAA, any level. Division 1, 2, or 3. They're not recognized in any high school in this country. The only reputable body with any level of integrity that says boxing is still a sport that needs to be contested is the International Olympic Committee. It is a dying sport. Boxing defended itself. It passed the test. MMA stood up. Conor McGregor and the brand stood up. UFC, as far as going, look, we're not putting on a circus here. We think we've got a competitive event. We're coming to the table. Sure, there's a lot of money, but we really think we have something here. They all held up, and every fan in that arena left satisfied. That's the first time I've seen Floyd have to fight. He found himself in there with a street fighter. What none of us knew about Conor is how well he could box. Yes, we knew he could throw the punches, but can he deal with them? Of course he can't deal with them. Well, wrong. Slipping, uppercuts, hooks, dig into the body. These are very hard things to do. They look easy when you see them on TV. They're very hard things to do, and Conor did it all, and he did it for half of an hour. You and I are spoiled with MMA. You know, what Versari and Dana White do, I mean, that is a totally different deal. And we are entertained from bell to bell as fans that are live. I don't know if the people at home would have felt that. They probably saw something pretty cool. I hear you on that, but they are different products. And, yeah, I mean, look, the only thing more embellished than Floyd Mayweather's personal wealth is Floyd Mayweather's pay-per-view numbers. ESPN, everybody's guilty of saying Pacquiao versus Floyd is the highest fight of all time at 4.4 million. not DirecTV, of which I'm a shareholder, not the Dish Network, not Comcast, not Time Warner, not one person backed those numbers. The 4.4 million is nowhere close to what Pacquiao and Mayweather did. That got put out on a press report that you all ate up. If this fight wants to be the biggest fight of all time, all it needs to do is put out a report that says it did 5 million. Absolutely not true. No more real than that belt that they brung out and put around Floyd's shoulder. I thought it was an incredible event. I thought it was an incredible night. Sure, yeah, it didn't sell out, but frankly, that's just because they priced their tickets too high. I mean, it was a big cash grab. They did incredible at the gate. And as far as the pay-per-view, I mean, it is what it is. Pacquiao and Mayweather did about 1.8 to 1.9 million. It got reported at 4.4. Welcome to the promotion business. That's still a great night. Well, I think he's going to fight in the UFC. You know, my respect for Conor goes up, but it goes up for different reasons than it does with other people. One thing I really, let's start at the beginning. One thing really cool about Conor McGregor, he stuck with his team. You know, nobody in boxing, nobody in MMA makes it from the streets to the big time and keeps their same coaches, same gym, and same teammates, even their same girlfriend. He did them all. He's just a real guy pursuing his dream. You know, he gets into this sport and he said something very cool. He's talking about Nate Diaz. I do think that Nate's going to be next. Little inside information. I'm sure you have the same information. I think that's going to go down in late December. But what I respect about Conor, and he actually brought this up with you when you guys did the one-man show, and he said, we got to one apiece. We got to go to the third. Well, that's a guy that respects the history of the sport. And as much as he's paving his own path, he is showing respect for tradition. And he's right. When you're one apiece, you go to the third. That's what the sport says. That's what history says. It's the right thing to do. I think he's going to do it.